This is the Resilient Advisor Show with Jay Coulter.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Blockchain Monthly on Resilient Advisor. My partner, as always, is Dan Weiskopf, co-portfolio manager of the Amplify ETF's transformational data sharing ETF, symbol BLOK. You can learn more about Dan's fund by visiting bloketf.com. Dan is also a member of the ETF think tank, and you can follow him on Twitter at ETF Professor. Dan, thanks for coming back on.
Thanks for having me, Jay. Always enjoy these conversations.
All right. Since our last update, the Biden administration has issued an executive order on crypto regulations or potential crypto regulations. What do advisors need to know?
They need to know that this is actually a huge positive because we need a framework around the industry, and it's going to be fits and starts. There are going to be times when we have great news, and there are going to be times when we don't, but we're trying to make progress with the framework.
So what do you think could be in the final piece of legislation, the final regulations that we end up seeing whenever they come?
We would be very excited to see, information around stable coins. We would be excited to, have greater clarity around KYC, even though quite honestly, it's pretty clear with the platforms on what they can do and what they can't do. But it's all about the clarity that I think we're looking forward to.
Yeah, I feel like the industry has been self-regulating to a degree. And admittedly, my only experience has been with a Coinbase account. And they know everything about me. They KYC. How are other operators in the space handling those issues?
Well, the KYC, it's just required, especially in the US, right? Voyager Digital is very advanced on the issues as well. But, I think what people don't appreciate is the more regulation out there, the more information, as an example, accounting firms can have in operating how they account for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, as an example. We're all learning on the job here on a lot of things. And having that framework will be constructive.
Yeah. And then also the opportunity for financial advisors to give advice or at least account for digital asset holdings inside a portfolio beyond an ETF structure like your block ETF will really be of paramount importance, or else people are going to be out there allocating to the space without guidance.
That's exactly correct, right? And then you take it a step further, getting insurance as that financial advisor will be easier, right? And that's ultimately very important.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right. So if you are not familiar with Dan's work on the blockchain interviews, he interviews industry leaders across the Bitcoin and blockchain space. Visit theblockchaininterviews.com. That is theblockchaininterviews.com to see past episodes that have included, Michael Saylor and other CEOs. Recently, you've had some interesting interviews. Any of them stand out to you?
Well, yeah. I mean, we just released one from CompSecure, and that is all about the digital wallet. And I talked to you about that last time I was on the show, right? And that's about cybersecurity. It's about storing your crypto. The other one that I will tell you will be coming out maybe in the next 2 weeks is all about your question about energy and how that's impacting the crypto miners.
Excellent. We'll have links to the blockchain interviews in the show notes. Let's move to the portfolio and what's happened here recently. So last time we spoke about Overstock. In your most recent note, you talk about their venture with T0. Could you give listeners and viewers a little bit of background on that?
Sure. So T0's been embedded in the Overstock portfolio. And then just recently, what ended up happening was ICE made an investment in T0, and David Goons stepped in and will be leading that business venture for real, right? So we finally have a real CEO leading the charge for T0. Hugely exciting news.
And what is T0?
So ultimately, what it will be is 1-day settlement, all right, on securities, right? I don't know why we're at that 2-day settlement even today, right now. Things will ultimately be either 1-day or even same-day settlement for securities.
Mm-hmm. Dan, this is just another example of something that I've noticed over the last 2 years and got my attention pointed towards this space. The sheer amount of intellectual firepower that is leaving my industry, financial services, for the blockchain really lends credence to the evolving space that blockchain has become. All right, so another holding in the portfolio is Stronghold. And so you had mentioned that they're getting a lot of credit for their ESG moat-like business model. What do you mean by that?
Well, you and I talked a little bit about energy impacts, right? Meaning that, with energy price going up, how does it impact the crypto miners? In the case of Stronghold, they're taking coal waste and converting it into energy. So they're vertically integrated with that issue particularly, and cleaning up mountains and mountains of waste coal in Pennsylvania that frankly is causing cancer and harmful to people's health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've done a lot of work on some of the ESG benefits of a lot of folks in the space and how there is attention being paid to it, and how there seems to be a lot of clickbait out there when it speaks to people talking about the challenges that Bitcoin and crypto mining bring to the environment. What is your take today on where the space is as it relates to energy consumption?
Yeah, I don't think it's as big of an issue as people make it out to seem. It's almost the same as smart beta as is a bad label in the ETF industry. The whole conversation around energy waste, I'm not talking about Stronghold, I'm talking about how, as an example, energy is not a good use for creating Bitcoin, and because it's excessive. It really isn't that big of a deal. I think a lot of people make the point because they don't like Bitcoin. That's a whole different issue.
That's exactly right. So, and people just read headlines, and that's generally as deep as they go. And if you spend a little bit of time, you realize that the issue is being addressed by the industry, just like regulations are almost being proactively addressed by the industry.
And ultimately, my last point on that is that renewables are going to be the answer, right? Lower cost of energy is where everybody is going to be going.
Yep. All right, so let's wrap up with this. We're recording this interview at the end of the first quarter. As you look out over the rest of the year, I'm not looking for a crystal ball, but I would like to know what has your attention in this space as you look out over the next 3 quarters.
The next 3 quarters. So I'm super excited about stablecoin and evolution of that area. I'm excited about things that will get put on the blockchain, and we talk about that frequently, you and I, about how the changes may occur in healthcare as an example. I'm constantly seeing tidbits of evidence that different industries are going to change, and of course I'm excited about the metaverse like everybody else is.
Awesome. Dan, I appreciate you coming on to be a resource for financial advisors. To learn more about the fund where Dan is the co-portfolio manager, please visit bloketf.com, and don't forget to check out theblockchaininterviews.com. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Jay.